Okay, Tammy Wolf, you should know. Okay, Tammy, first question. Tell me about growing up in New Jersey. What part of Jersey are you from? And how does Jersey compare to DC?
Uh, I am from down the shore in New Jersey. I can see it in your face. It's not like that. I don't know Snooki. But I did grow up in a small town called Oceanport, about 10 minutes from the beach. So DC is certainly more exciting, quality of life. Well, I don't know about quality of life, but life wise, DC is much more exciting. There's many, many more things to do. But it does not have that same access to the beach. So uh, it's a tough call sometimes, but I'm very glad I came back to DC and I'm living here.
Okay, great. And how you attended American University
hmm
and you were involved in the Hillel there. How was it attending AU and what was it like being involved in the Hillel?
Yeah, so one of the reasons I came to American was to experience life outside of suburban New Jersey, and I definitely did. It's actually, I grew up going to synagogue and sort of involved with my temple, not really with the youth group or anything. So it was really in college. I remember I went to some of the Hillel Welcome Week events my freshman year, and that really started my journey probably into an adult Jewish life. They sunk their little claws into me, and I haven't looked back since. I made some of my best friends through AU Hillel during undergrad.
And you studied, you majored in American history, I
I
believe, or
did.
history. How did you become interested in American history?
I've always liked history. I can't pinpoint a like how or why or anything like that. I just think the way people interact with each other is fascinating. So I wound up thinking I was going to go to law school and that history would be a good major. And then I wound up not going to law school. So I wound up I stayed on and got my master's in American history and this field called public history, which is basically anything not in a classroom. So I was actually originally planning on working in museums and doing museum education and public programming.
Okay, great. And then tell me about participating in the Masa Israel
Yeah.
program. You lived in Netanya for 10 months.
hmm
What was that experience like?
So it's actually after grad school I had moved back home, which is how I know I prefer to live in DC. And I was there for about a year when looking for a job. When my friend said, Masa has this great new program, you should do it. And Masa is an organization, part of the Jewish agency that runs our programs for Jewish young adults, 18 to 30, to live in Israel for a long period of time, about 5 to 10 months for Americans. And I had gone on birthright in college, and I had actually gone back to Israel with my family in grad school, and spending a significant amount of time in Israel was on my to-do list. And this opportunity came around. I did a program called Israel Teaching Fellows, where I lived and worked in Netanya from September through June of 2011, 2012. And it was just the most, there's no words really for the Masa, at least for my Masa experience. I made some of my best friends. It's one thing to visit a place, and it's another thing to really get the chance to live there and become a part of the community and know, for me especially, the kids in school and about their lives and their families, and it was unbelievable. They took us all around the country, and you really got to know Israel, flaws and all, as opposed to Birthright, which is fantastic and wonderful, but such a quick experience. I'll be honest, I almost stayed. It was a very powerful experience, and if anyone is 18 to 30 and would like to learn more about Masa, they should, and spend some time in Israel. Do it. Just do it. Just go.
Now, you did go back to Israel and you studied at yeshiva. in Jerusalem in
So it was
2012. Tell me a little about
Yeah,
that.
so it was actually, I didn't go back. I just kind of stayed an extra 7 weeks.
Okay.
7 or 8 weeks. My program ended at the end of June, and I wasn't quite ready to go back, and I was thinking about staying for another year. And the conservative yeshiva in Jerusalem offered me a scholarship to stay and study for the summer, and so I did. And that was a really great. I love learning and how whatever my feelings are about kind of what Torah says and what Talmud says, I just wanted to know it. So that was my first time studying Talmud, and it was a lot of fun to live in Jerusalem and to just be in an environment where people were learning because they wanted to. And I'm a nerd, so that's what I love. And it was really eye-opening to go directly to the source and to decipher it for myself. It was, again, a powerful experience that I really loved.
And tell me about your current position here at the DCJCC as the director of EntryPointDC.
Yeah, so actually while I was at yeshiva, I was looking at kind of what am I going to do next year. It was the summer of 2012. And I was looking through all the jobs, and since I had been in Israel, I had started looking at jobs in the Jewish community as well. And this one came up, and I applied, and now here I am, almost 3 years later. I love what I get to do. So EntryPointDC is the DCJCC's programming for young professionals. So I do about 2 to 4 programs a month, social, cultural, educational, as long as it looks cool and Jewish. I'm all over it. And so we just had a huge program for Shavuot where we studied and ate cheesecake and ice cream sundaes because that's what you do. We had a happy hour last night. We have a community service project coming up. We have a Shabbat dinner and a show with the JCC's theater company, Theater J. So a really kind of wide variety of things. I get to meet people and say, you want to be Jewish and you want to do Jewish things, and I want to help you do that. And how can I do that? How can I utilize the resources of the JCC, or our film department and our literary department, our music department, our LGBT program, GLOW? What can I use from here to bring you in, and how can I connect you to other awesome Jewish things going on in the city? And there are a lot of those.
And well, let's segue into that.
Yeah.
What is your favorite part or parts of the DC Jewish community? What else do you like to do besides your work here at the EntryPointDC?
So I think my whole life is the Jewish community. In addition to working here at the J, I volunteer with the Jewish Historical Society of Greater Washington because I missed working in museums. So I lead school tours for them, or usually school tours. It's usually Hebrew school classes from this area or maybe from even outside of this area, and I kind of introduce them to the historical Jewish community in DC. And I also sit on the membership and programming committee for them, which is my first time sitting on any sort of committee or board for an organization. So it's really exciting to see how that works as a member rather than what I see here, which is from the staff side. This area doesn't have, I think, the stereotypical Jewish American history that we think of. We think of New York, for example. And DC didn't have an equivalent of a Lower East Side in the 19th century when the community was really starting, mid-19th century when the community was really starting, and how does that affect everything, and how does that change the way DC's Jewish community interacts with the larger DC community? And so that's really fun, and I get to help with programs over there and put things together. I hope I'm helping them reach out to a younger audience. Fingers crossed, because that's what I want to be doing with them. And then,
go ahead.
yeah, and so I'm one of the founding members and the outgoing co-chair of the DC Masa Alumni Board, which connects Masa alumni to each other. We kind of recruit for Masa because we had such a fabulous experience, and of course we want everyone else to have such a wonderful experience. And I've had the opportunity with them to do a lot of things on a more national scale, retreats and conferences, and it's a great way to stay connected for me to Israel and to this wonderful community of people who know what it's. There's something really special about living in Israel, and it's hard to put into words. And when you know that you're with someone else who did it, there's not as much you have to struggle to say. So it's important, and I really enjoy it.
And what do you love about DC? What do you really enjoy about living here?
Everything but the rent. It's just such an exciting city. I'm coming up on my 11th anniversary of first moving to DC, and it's so not the place it was in 2004 when I got here. So for me, it's been really exciting to watch that change. I remember I would never have come to 14th Street, and now I'm on 14th Street all the time. But we have such an amazing culture here. It's like there's something going on all the time. There's an amazing theater scene, cultural events, the museums, great spaces to just hang out in. I'm in Meridian Hill Park now that it's getting nice out, or it was, all the time. And there's really great restaurants too, which I love. So it's all the ease and convenience of a big city, but you look around and there's still trees everywhere. And you can get everywhere. It's not a pain. There's very few places that it's really a pain to get to. And I love the kind of life that I get to live, and watching the intersection of national life and local life also is fascinating, how those two are balanced. And I feel like working where I do and not being a part of that gives me an interesting perspective on it sometimes, because I'm not in the middle of it. I'm here and it's happening to me and around me, but it doesn't always feel like right in front of my face. But no, move to DC. It's awesome.
And you mentioned that you like to scuba dive.
I do.
What is the craziest place that you have scuba dived?
Most places I scuba dive, I try to keep a rule that if I have to wear a wetsuit, I don't want to go, because they're uncomfortable, and I don't like being that cold. I was certified at a place called Dutch Springs in Pennsylvania, which is a quarry, a rock quarry that they have exhausted and filled with water and sank school buses and airplanes and things in it. Not that you can see them, because it's freezing and you have about 5 feet of visibility. I was on vacation with my family in the Cayman Islands in the end of March, right before Passover this year. And we can't remember the name of the reef, but there were sharks everywhere. So that was very exciting. And my father had a camera at the time. So there are a lot of pictures of sharks and a lot of pictures of my sister and I pointing at sharks. I think my big goal right now is to dive in Eilat, because for some reason I lived there for a year and I still never did it. So, yeah.
Okay, well, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.